Yes.
Recently, there is a movie, a documentary circulating over the internet about how state spending in the education system, especially with the ABRIC system, where it says not all money actually goes to the teachers. And then it does talk about charter schools. I wonder if you can give us more information about how they spend money on it. Are we comfortable with doing that educational thing?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Let's start with Ms. Jasey.
Yeah, I've seen the documentary that you're talking about, and most of it is well done. Some of it's a little exaggerated, but for the most part, it's well done. I don't know how to answer this in a minute and a half. Is that what I have? In terms of spending, a number of pieces of accountability are in place to look at how money is spent. The State Department of Education has overhauled it's called QSAC, and it's a way of evaluating district by district how money is spent, what's effective, what's not effective, and then districts are graded, if you will, in each of, I believe it's 5 categories. There are a lot of issues with how the money has been spent in what are now the former added districts. I think the greatest reform that has happened is the School Funding Reform Act, which has to do with how money is distributed and the fact that money now does follow the child. So the money for paying for the public education of students is based on, there's a base amount, and then on top of that, money is added for special needs, for English language learners, for low socioeconomic students, because we know that they're at greater risk. So we could talk all evening about this one, but that's a very good question. Mr. Funt, if you address that.
Sure, the movie you're referring to is The Cartel, and I urge everybody to see it. It is a searing indictment on where all of the money is going and the places where it's really where it's supposed to go and how it's not really getting to where it needs to be. There's a scene in the movie where they show a inverse correlation between the number of luxury cars in an administrator's parking lot and how the school ultimately performs. It talks in detail to the school construction debacle we spent billions of dollars on, which was, again, one of the most corruptly executed programs in the state, which is why we have trouble believing that any of the money that we spend is going to go to the place we do, as well as intention, as John may be, is that we have a long history of mistrust. I don't know how it begins other than we just kind of go back and starting over. But most striking in that film is a scene where the charter schools, which we're all obviously for, the way it works is a lottery. There's a wheel, and you pick out who gets in. And you see the tears of, the ecstasy of those who are chosen, and the tears of sadness for those who are left behind. You cannot come away from that film without saying, we must have school choice. We've got to do something for those kids. We've got to this point.
Mr. Byer.
I haven't seen this film, but I can tell you the Abbott district system has got to go. It's just not fair for one part of the state to pay for the school system in another part of the state. So the burden falls on a town like West Orange to pay for a so-called poor town like Hoboken. It's just not fair. Now, this leads to another problem. It's not just the Democratic governors and the Democratic State Assembly and the Democratic State Senate that's been destroying the state of New Jersey. It's also the judges. And the Abbott districts have been pushed by judges who are legislating from the bench. One of the things we have to do is get these people off the bench, out of the system, and let them go get real jobs in the real world and see what it's like to pay these taxes. You cannot afford to have these judges spending tax dollars as freely and as loosely as they've been doing. Now, I know Chris Christie has said one of his priorities will be to get rid of these judges. one of Chris Christie's priorities will be to have tort reform, which we haven't mentioned tonight, but we badly need tort reform because every business in New Jersey has a target on its back. Every doctor in New Jersey has a target on its back. And you can just turn on any radio station and any television station, and every attorney who's in that business has ads saying, come to me, I'm going to sue your doctor, and I'm going to sue your boss, and I'm going to sue your business.
Mr. McKeon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do my best. Mr. Meyerowitz said the Abbott districts have to go. Well, they're gone. Under the new state formula that was put together over the last year or so, with the input, frankly, of some of the representatives from Livingston who have walked down to Trenton to help us with that, along with Ms. Jasey, the Supreme Court has unanimously approved the new funding formula, so Abbott is indeed a thing of the past.
Thank you.
And by the way, those Supreme Court justices who might say that they live in the real world, most of whom put Abbott in place were appointed by Governor Whitman. So that's the way our system is designed. There's independence of the judiciary, and our Constitution are our rules that we determine to live by, and thus the state lived by them over the last 2 decades. As it relates to tort reform that you just touched on it, the sponsor of the Patients First Act, which if you speak to most doctors now in the state of New Jersey, they'll tell you how effective that was in both reducing frequency as well as severity of claims in the state and in making that aspect of the challenges that the medical practitioners have actually be in very good control.
Yeah, I just want to know if the legislature has been doing such a wonderful job, why are things still so lousy? You know, what?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I look at things a different way. Things aren't that lousy. I think this is a great state. This is a great district. I think that we're in a worldwide recession right now, and we collect most of our fees from income and sales tax, and people aren't buying as much, and they're not making as much, so we're in a crisis right now. We'll get out of it. And there have been the ways that we have moved forward to. New Jersey had the first stimulus package before the federal government did, as far as business incentives. That's working. New Jersey. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Funt.
I thought I read this report this morning that unemployment ticked up and we lost another 20,000 something private sector jobs. So, our 1,600 come into Jersey City just yesterday. I think
4 years.
Whether they think things are getting better here, things are getting worse. As Mark said, you can't blame everything on the national recession. Our problems were put in place structurally well before the crisis, and because of what happened when the crisis hit, we now face an $8 billion structural deficit. I don't know how you can say things are okay or getting better. Come on.
Ms. Jasey.
You've got 30 seconds.
Okay. I would just repeat the fact that we are not in this alone, that we are well aware of the difficulties. We are planning for the future. We have put things in place so that as we come out of this recession, and I believe that we will, I believe the entire country will, we will be well positioned and prepared to move quickly in terms of replacing jobs, in terms of we are working very hard to keep people in their homes. But all of these things unfortunately go very slowly. It's not an overnight fix, and we didn't get into it.
Thank you.